Hello everyone, have a nice day. A warm welcome to our channel Exam Peter. Hope everyone viewed the first part of video. And today we have discussed about demand analysis. So what is demand? Demand means various quantities of goods that would be purchased per time period at different prices in a given market. That means, according to the opinions of Hipton, Professor Hipton defines demand means various quantities of goods that would be purchased per time period. At a given time period, at a prevailing price, what would be demanded by what quantities of goods demanded by the market? That is called demand. So demand for a commodity is its called quantity at which consumers are able and willing to buy at various prices during a given period of time. So demand is the behavior of potential buyers in a market. When will the demand come? Consumers have some wishes, willing to purchase. Then they are able to purchase and they are ready to purchase. All these things are combined, then the demand comes. So what is law of demand? Next, we have discussed about law of demand. Law of demand defined by Samuelson. Law of demand means there is an inverse relationship between demand and the price of a particular commodity. That means people will buy more at lower prices and buy less at the higher prices. When the price of a commodity increases, the demand for a product decreases. So there is a inverse relationship between demand and price of commodity. This law is called law of demand. This law is called law of demand. Here, price is increased, then the quantity demanded will be decreased. And the price is decreased. You can see when the price is decreased, the quantity demanded for a particular commodity increased. The law of demand is known as the first law of market, and this law introduced by Alfred Marshall. Next, assumptions. There are certain assumptions which relates to the law of demand. What are that? First, the income of the buyer remains constant. Then taste and preferences of the consumers remain the same. Then price of related commodities. Related commodities means substituted products or complementary products. So the price of substitute products or the prices of complementary products remains the same. Then consumers do not know about any new substitute product, and there is no expectation of change in the price of the commodity in the near future, and the commodity should not be a prestige commodity, and the size of population remains constant. And then we go to demand schedule. When the law of demand presented in a tabular form, we can say that demand schedule. So demand schedule which shows is a table which shows the list of prices and the corresponding quantities demanded by a consumers. So it's a tabular chart showing the quantities of a commodity demanded at different prices at a particular time period in a particular market. Then we can show that table here. The prices per dozens of mangoes are there and quantity demanded. Then prices per dozens of mango. When the price is 5, the quantity demanded of mango is 8. Then when the prices increases from 5 to 10, the quantity demanded decreased to 6. Then when the price is increased to 15, the quantity demanded again reduced into 4. When the price is increased to 20, the quantity demanded reduced into 3. So that means there is an inverse relationship between the price and the quantity demanded of a product. And this is law of demand, and it can be shown through a schedule or table that's called demand schedule. And we can divide the demand schedule into two types: individual demand schedule and market demand schedule. So what is individual demand schedule? Individual demand schedule is a list of various quantities of a commodity which an individual consumer, here not the point, this is the main part, individual consumer buys at different possible prices. So individual demand schedule shows the quantity, different quantities of commodities, which are individual consumer buys. That is here the more important area. And here market demand schedule. So what is market demand schedule? Which shows how much quantity is demanded by all the consumers in the market. Here market demand schedule shows how much quantity demanded for a particular commodity by all the consumers in the market. So this is the difference between the individual demand schedule and the market demand schedule. Got it? Next, demand curve. So, we can draw the demand schedule through a curve. That curve is called demand curve. So demand curve is a graphical representation of a demand schedule. Demand curve is the graphical representation which indicates the total quantity of a product that all consumers are willing and able to purchase at the prevailing price level. Next, shift in demand. What is shift in demand? Shift in demand means change in demand. Shift in demand simply means change in demand. That means when the determinants of demand change. What is determinants of demand change? Price of the products, price of the related products, taste and preferences of the consumers. There are a lot of factors. These factors are called determinants of demand. Whenever any change in these factors, according to that change, the demand also changes. So, when when the price of commodity increases, what will be happen? The demand decreases. When the income of the consumers increases, the demand also increases. So, there is a change or shift in demand. That is called shift in demand. And the shift in demand may be two types: rightward shift and downward shift are there. When the rightward shift means the shift in the entire demand curve upward or rightward, that's called increase in demand. That's called increase in demand. Here you can see that from this graph, you can show that first we draw a demand curve TD. Have you seen this? And from this, the demand curve move into D1 curve. Here, shift in demand to upward. In this case, the demand increases. In this case, the quantity demanded increases. You can see from this here, DD demand curve, the quantity demanded is OQ. Can you see this? OQ. When the demand is shift from DD curve to D1 T1, the quantity demanded shift into OQ1. So that is upward shift. And when the price of the commodity decreases or other or the effect of other factors, the demand increases, the demand curve shift into backward from DD to D2, D2. Here, the quantity demanded, you can see that when the price is constant, the price level is constant. OP is the price level that is constant in this case. Here, the quantity demanded is OQ. What will be happen? The quantity demanded will be reduced. That's called a shift in demand. Then next we have talked about why demand curve slopes downward. Reason for the downward curve, you can see that here the demand curve slopes in downwards, DD, D1, D1, D2, all this curve shows a downward position. So what is the reasons behind that? First, the law of diminishing marginal utility. Law of diminishing marginal utility, that means when a consumer consumes more of a commodity, every additional unit of that commodity will give him less satisfaction. That is called law of diminishing marginal utility. Therefore, the consumer will buy more only at a lower price. The consumer consumes a product a number of times constantly. The satisfaction or utility get from the additional unit of commodity is reduced and reduced. So that is called the law of diminishing marginal utility. So due to this cause, the consumer will buy more only at the lower prices. If the price is higher, he will restrict its consumption. That is called the law of diminishing marginal utility. Next, income effect. So we know that when the price of commodity falls, the real income of consumer increases and vice versa. That means when the product's price is decreased, a consumer can purchase that product at a lesser price. So he can save some of money for other purposes. So that is called income effect. If the price of a commodity rises, the opposite will happen. This is known as income effect. Then substitution effect. What is substitution effect? Consumers always substitute cheaper commodity in place of costlier commodity. For example, if the price of tea increases, we substitute the tea in the place of coffee. Some people may shift in the demand from coffee to tea, and the demand for tea increases due to increasing the prices of tea. This is known as substitution or complementary effect. Substitution of one good for another because it has some relatively cheaper. That is called the substitution effect. Next, we have to talk about price effect. When there is a fall in the price of any commodity, the existing consumers will buy more quantity because the price has fallen. Already we say that the law of demand. When the price has fallen, the consumers will buy more. Then different uses of commodity. If a commodity can be used in different purposes, its demand will be affected by a change in its price. As a common example, that is electricity. Because we use it in several uses. If the price of electricity increases, it will be used only for a limited or more important purposes, for lighting only, and we cut down some of its uses. Because the electricity board pay a higher bill from our. So if the price falls, it will be used freely for lighting, heating, cooking, etc. Then there are a lot of exceptions. Exemptions are to the law of demand. Exceptions to the law of demand. First, inferior or given goods. Sir Robert Giffen introduced the given goods theory. What is given goods? Normally, as we say that when the price of commodity increases, this quantity demanded decreases. But in case of given goods or inferior goods, if the price of commodity decreases, its demand also decreases. There is a direct relation. In that, types of goods are called given goods. The law of demand does not apply in this case of inferior goods. For example, second-hand appliances, cloth, coarse cloth, bajra, low-quality ballpoints, and such inferior goods are called given goods. And given goods are those goods which demand increases with the increase in price and decreases with the decreases in price. Then prestige goods. Prestige goods that means the value of or the price of that goods which is higher position. For example, precious stones, diamonds, and high costly cars, luxurious hotels. When the people are consumed these types of items, when the price is higher, that means rich people buy this item to express their prestige value, to express their wealth position. So as the price of such goods increases, the quantity demanded also increases. Rolls-Royce car may be purchased by a man to advertise his wealth. A decrease in the car's price may actually reduce its sales. These types of goods are called prestige goods, and this law is called Veblen effect. This effect is called Veblen effect. Thorstein Veblen. So Thorstein Veblen is an American economist introduced this concept. So this effect is called a distinctive effect or Veblen effect. Then demand for necessaries. The law of demand does not apply in case of necessary goods. If in the case of rice, kerosene, salt, matches, medicines, if its prices increases, we never consider that because it's a necessary product. Even its prices increases, we should buy and consume that products. And emergency, during national emergencies like a war or civil war, goods become artificially scarce. Consumer fear that the price will rise. So they keep that, they buy and stock that products for future period because of the fear that in the future time period, the price will be again increase in trend, shows an increase in trend. And the speculation affected. When the prices are falling, people may demand less, expecting a further falling price. Similarly, when the prices are rising, some people think that when prices of some products is show some increases, and they also feel that, or they also expect that in the coming future it's also shows an increasing set. So that is called a speculation effect. And in the case of in that cases, people due to the fear of increasing their price in coming future, they buy more and more in the price, more and more that products. Then this is because they expect that prices will rise further. And ignorance. Sometimes people have no idea what the market prices, and they are not conscious about the prevailing high prices. In that cases, consumers feel ready to buy products, more quantity of products at high prices due to ignorance. And then commodities which are out of fashion. If a commodity goes out of fashion, its demanded may be fall, even when the prices are falling. Then festival, marriages, etc. In that situations, we are not bothered about what will be the price. We are ready to purchase all those things, which and we are capable, or we are ready to adopt higher prices for enjoying or celebrating these functions. And then brand loyalty. If a consumer is loyal to a particular brand of commodity, he will not like to change the brand even if the price of the products is increasing. Then cosmetics. Modern civilization made a cosmetics is necessary, and so even if the prices of the cosmetics products also increases, they are not considered that. And demand function. Next, we have to discuss about the demand function. What is demand function? Demand function means a function describe how much of a commodity will be purchased at the prevailing prices of that commodity, and related commodities, alternative income levels, alternative values of other variables affecting demand. There are a lot of factors affecting demand, and the quantity demanded of a product and various factors affecting the quantity demanded of a product. There is a relation between these two things, and it's called the demand function. So comes to the quantity demanded of a product, X is equal to a function of price of the product, prices of related products, income of the consumers, taste and preferences of the consumers, and the expected income, and then expected price, advertising. There are a lot of factors are there. So demand function of a product relate with the all these factors. This is called demand function. And next we go to determinants of demand. What are the factors that determines the demand? First of all, price of the commodity. That's we say that there is an inverse relationship between the price of commodity and demand, and the nature of the commodity. For what purpose we use that products, and is it a necessary product? Is it a luxurious product? Like that. If it is a necessary product, the demand generally remains constant. But in case of it is a durable products, the demand can be postponed for a future period of time, and the demand for prestigious goods remains constant, like that. And the income and the wealth of the consumers. If the income of the consumers increases, normally the demand for the normal goods also will increases. So there is a positive relationship between the income and the wealth, income and the quantity demanded of the product. But in case of inferior products, there is an inverse relation between the income and the demand. And the taste and preferences of the consumers. Any change in the fashion, taste, preferences of consumers brings about changes in demand. So sometimes some goods are in trend or in fashion in a particular period of time. At that time, people are not conscious about or bothered about the prices of that product, and they are ready to buy that product at any prices. But if the product, if the some goods are go out of fashion, the demand also will be less. Similarly, if a consumer he is habitual of consuming a particular commodity, he will purchase irrespective of its prices, like cigarettes, like that products. And then price of related goods. The demand for a commodity is affected not only by its own price, but also by the prices of related goods. And we can already say that there are related products are come under their two categories: substituted products and complementary products. What is substituted products? When we say that the products are substituted, two products, goods are said to be substitute of each other when one can be used in place of other. Tea and coffee are substituted products. If the price of substituted commodity increases, the demand for original commodity will increase. On the other hand, if the price of a substitute commodity falls, the demand for original commodity will decrease. And then complementary goods. What is complementary goods? When goods are used with each other, such goods are called complementary goods. Bread and jam. And similarly, we can say that scooter and petrol. Here the demand here, the demand for commodity goods, commodity decreases due to a rise in price or change in other factors. The demand for complementary good will also decrease. For example, the demand for pen decreases, the demand for ink will also decrease. Then consumers' expectation. What about the expectation? About the expectation about the fall in the price of goods or rise in the price of goods in the coming future, that will also affect the demand of the commodity. If a consumer expect a rise in price of a commodity in coming future, they may purchase large quantity of that goods. And when the purchase of commodity decreases, people expect a further fall in the price and postpone the purchase in another period of time. And then advertisement. Next point, advertisement. Advertisement also create and maintain, increase the demand of goods. Demand for example, if the advertisement, due to the effect of advertisement, people are ready to produce, people are ready to purchase and consume lot of products in the markets. And then usefulness, changes in usefulness can also change the demand. For example, the demand for coats rises at the beginning of the winter season. And similarly, the demand for the Christmas cards rise in November and falls in January. And the change in population. If the change in population, change in the population of the country may also cause changes in the demand of a particular products and services. With an increase in the population, also increase in demand. And the composition of population, that means the number of proportion of the young woman, proportion of the young man, proportion of old groups, old aged groups, proportion of the children. These are the composition of the population. A change in composition of population and has an effect on the nature of the demand for different commodities and the distribution of the income and the wealth. Here, it will also affect the demand of a commodity. If there is an unequal distribution of income and wealth in the country, the demand of the goods and comforts and luxuries will be greater. If there is equal distribution of income and wealth, demand of necessary goods and comforts will be greater. And change in the quantity of money in circulation. That means if the money circulation increases in the market, people have the ability to purchase more. Their purchasing power is increased. Then technological progress, inventions and discoveries brings new things in the market. As a result, the people are able to purchase, or people have the power, people have an can access new products in the markets in place of older ones. And business cycle. In the period of boom, people can demand more commodities, and in the period of depression, the purchasing power of the consumers will be less, so they demand commodities at a decreasing rate. And then demonstration effect. Sometimes people get motivated to buy a product, due to because of the neighbors or relatives bought that product. So this is called a demonstration effect or contact effect. The influence of what others consume is so great that we are unconsciously changing on to a new fashion and taste. So thank you once again, and thank you. Once more, I said that please subscribe and like my channel. And if you have any doubts, please comment on the comment box. Thank you.